No, we want you to have the most important day of your life
Hmm.
because one of the things that I say is there are no do-overs.
That's right.
You can't get to 11 p.m. on your wedding day and be like, oh my God, this was all wrong.
Hmm.
I should have had someone do X, Y, Z. I'm cleaning up trash, I'm
Right.
doing this, I'm doing that.
Right.
Let's do it all again tomorrow.
Welcome to the Wedding Dreams Unveiled podcast, your go-to source for insightful conversations with ordinary newlyweds and vendors navigating the difficult world of wedding planning.
Mm.
I'm your host, Livingston Lee, and with a decade of experience and many, many weddings captured via photography, I think that I can help you out with navigating this difficult world. So we're going to get started today. And today we have Tiffanie from Tiffanie Event Planner. Uh, Good friend of mine. We've known each other for a long time. And then, when we ran into each other later on, we realized both of us was in the same industry, which was awesome.
Yes, it was.
So, Tiffanie, welcome
Thank
to Wedding
you.
Dreams Unveiled.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
happy to be here.
Thank you for coming on. This is episode number 1. And I didn't think of it. The first person I thought of was Tiffanie. When I said, I want to get this done, I thought of her, because I know that she can set the bar high for, what needs to be done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We're going to get to the nitty gritty of this.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we're
Yes,
going to
we are.
set this podcast off.
It's going to be fun.
It
It's
is.
going to be
It
fun.
is.
And, I want this podcast to be for, all the couples out there. I want this to be the go-to source for you to be able to come, listen, look, and see exactly how you can do things and see what other couples went through. So if you know anybody who just got married and, they got a story to tell, please have them email me and we'll have all of that stuff in the show notes later.
Yes.
But let's get started with Miss Tiffanie from Tiffanie Event Planner, and also she's Bird of Paradise as well.
Yes. Yes.
So, Tiffanie, tell us a little bit about yourself, and give us some accolades. You got plenty of accolades, I know. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Will do. But first of all, thank you so much for having me on your first podcast. I'm
Yes.
so excited. Congratulations to you. I can't wait to see everything just blow up. So I am Tiffanie. I am affectionately known as Tiffanie Event Planner. And I say affectionately because I take my wedding business seriously. So affectionately comes as, you know, uh, as people love me. So, but I am the founder and owner of Bird of Paradise Events. I also have the Tiffany Event Planning Experience, which is mentoring, coaching, and I'm also the author of the Competent and Confident Wedding Planners Guide. So that is for wedding planners who are just entering the industry and or wedding planners that need some, push and rebrand or, things, to elevate their business.
Hmm.
So, and I've been doing this for 15 years.
15 years. That
15
is.
years. A lot of couples, a lot of weddings,
Oh, yes.
a lot of personalities,
Hmm.
a lot of things.
That 15 years in this business is a milestone.
Yes.
I've only been in the business 10 years, and 15, my God, that's a long, long time to be in this business. So
Yes.
congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that alone,
Thank you.
to still be just, doing this.
And loving it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well, we can
can't-
tell all
you
the
can't
stuff
do
you
it.
post on Instagram and all of that. We know you love what you do.
You
Every
can't do it
time
if
I
you don't love it.
scrolling through Instagram, first person I see is you.
You can't do it if you don't love it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Oh.
So let's talk a little bit about the book that you wrote before we get into setting the bar high for the couples. Let's talk a little bit about the book that you wrote. Like what inspired you to want to write a book?
Um, Really, it was pretty much for the earlier me.
Okay.
So when I came into this industry in 2008, there weren't a lot of resources.
Mm.
There weren't a lot of event planners or wedding planners that looked like me. so that there wasn't a community. So over the years of planning, there's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, yes.
And if you're a newly planner just jumping in and you don't really have a resource or a community or a person that you can reach out and touch, you kind of get lost and you go more so into the fires than not. So you go in the fires first,
right,
and then learn lessons by being in the fire. So my book is to kind of give you that that guide of you don't have to go through the fires. Here's some guidance to, to some things in the business. It is near and dear to my heart. I give my own personal stories, my own transparency, all of my embarrassments, things I did wrong, because it happens.
Right.
But so that's, that was the purpose of the book. And it was a long time coming. I think I started working on it during COVID. So I just released it in about July.
Wow. So did you like type it all out and all of that? Like,
yes. So I had a lot of brainstorming sessions.
Okay.
With someone to get everything out of my brain because he, kind of realized in talking to me about the wedding business, he was like, you have a lot of stuff up there.
Oh, yes.
He was like, Tiffanie, you have to get everything that we did over the year and a half, 2 years, I still have about 2 or 3 more books.
Wow.
So that was literally
there you go. First. 2 or 3 more books is coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. So let's go into kind of stuff for couples. Like one of the questions that I get from couples sometimes, and I'm sure you get as well, is like, why should a couple hire a wedding planner?
Well, see, that's the number one question, always.
Okay.
And the number one answer that couples say is, it costs too much. What costs you more if you don't have a wedding planner?
I agree.
But really, couples should have a wedding planner because of how much we navigate.
Okay.
How much we can save them financially, mentally.
Yep.
Those are important things when planning a wedding. You are planning a wedding for sometimes 12 months, sometimes 6 months, sometimes 9 months.
Yes.
So you literally have a person who is navigating the most important day for you.
Yes.
Most people don't realize that they should have had a wedding planner until it's too late. Until they're thousands of dollars out, until they've hired the wrong vendor, or until something doesn't go right on their day, or until they're on their wedding day and they are doing all the work and they don't get to be present in their day. So what we do is, wedding planners, we try to educate couples as much as possible, and not to make it seem like we want your money. No, we want you to have the most important day of your life, because one of the things that I say is there are no do-overs.
That's right.
You can't get to 11 p.m. on your wedding day and be like, oh my God, this was all wrong. I should have had someone do X, Y, Z. I'm cleaning up trash. I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Right.
Let's do it all again tomorrow. That's not how it works.
No.
So now, all of the publications and articles say, oh, you get engaged, make an announcement, hire a wedding planner. Everyone skips over that. And they skip over it because all they see is the wedding planner is going to cost me $6,000. The wedding planner is going to cost me $8,000. Right. The wedding planner might cost you that.
Right.
But it's also going to give you the ease. It's going to save you money as you're navigating between venues and caterers and florists and decor, DJs and bands. We are now in 2023 going into 2024. There are about, on an average, 15 to 22 vendors on a wedding.
Wow.
That is a lot of people to navigate.
So, and like as a photographer, like, and we've worked together before, like I don't know that, but you would, because they all have to go through you at some point for things.
Correct.
So you said it's How many? What's that number again?
15 to 22
Wow.
on average. So now, from now on, when you're on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and you look at weddings, when people put them on,
Right.
when you look at the list of vendors tagged,
Mm-hmm.
that's all the vendors who were a part of that wedding.
Wow.
So now it's not how it was in like 2010 or 9, where it's just 4 or 5 vendors.
Right, right.
We have now elevated to these larger scale
Mm.
weddings, more detail oriented. So it requires more vendors. That's more people that you have to manage. That's
Right.
more people that you have to be in contact with. And for a couple that is managing career, personal life, maybe children,
Mm-hmm.
and buying a house, just bought a house,
Mm-hmm.
don't live in town, that's a lot to navigate,
Yes.
you know? So for me, it's not that I would be in contact with those vendors at some point. I am the point.
I got you.
Like, they literally, the only thing that my couples have to do is pay the invoices, etc. When vendors have questions,
Mm-hmm.
they come through me.
Mm.
And then I can navigate. So couples are dealing with one person per se,
I got you.
or if we need to loop them in. But that's a lot of people to try to manage, questions, emails, phone calls.
Right. Yeah, that's that. Like I said, I didn't even know that. The only vendors that I know of is the caterer,
So you can eat.
Right, the caterer, the wedding planner, the videographer, maybe makeup artist,
Mm-hmm.
and the venue, and maybe the limo driver or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
that was the only ones that I knew of. But man, that is a lot.
It is.
And I'm sure that a couple does not want to have to go through all of that, while they're planning their wedding. They just want to be able to enjoy their wedding and not be that point of contact on the day of.
Correct.
So yeah, that's weird.
Correct.
But yeah, cool. But yeah, so like when couples run into issues, like when the bride wants to do one thing but the groom wants to do another thing, like how do you navigate that so both of them feel like they're included with,
So one of the things that, again, it's important to have
Mhm.
a wedding planner because
Yes.
we wear many hats.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the many hats that we wear is a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
psychologist. I've been given numerous titles.
Uh-huh.
But during that planning process with the bride and the groom, I have conversations where, I'm like, you guys communicating, and all my couples love me. So
Yeah.
I have even gotten to the point where I'm like, look, you're going to have to sacrifice this
Mm-hmm.
for him. This is what she wants. We're going to have to, balance it out. But it's literally all about balance. And
Right.
you're married. It's
Mhm.
all about balance
Yes.
because you don't want to have one person feel like it's more their day
Correct.
than the other.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I started going to suit appointments with my
Mhm.
grooms.
Oh.
Because I spend so much time with the brides
Yeah.
and I didn't have any one-on-one time with the grooms.
Right.
Normally, grooms show up for me at the tasting, of course, because
Yes.
the food is important.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the cake tasting as well, and then venue site visits.
Right.
Other
That's
than
it.
that, we're just chit-chatting on the phone about music,
Mm-hmm.
those types of things. So I
Yes.
started spending time with the grooms by going to the suit appointments.
Yeah.
But it's all about the balance. And if, what I learned a while ago
Mhm.
is if I have a bride who is in love with pink,
Right.
everything can't be pink
Well, yeah.
because we have this groom here.
Yes.
So we can have a whole pink wedding. What's
Mhm.
his favorite color? Let's bring it in with an accent color.
Right.
But also what I do in my consults is I ask both of them what is the most important thing to them
Mm-hmm.
for the planning process,
Okay.
and what is the most important thing for them on the day of.
Okay.
So therefore, I can hone into that when I go back, when we're in the planning process, and be like, oh, he is most interested in the music. He wants it to feel like a family affair.
Right.
He wants it to be like this. So I can tie those things in
Mm-hmm.
to what she wants, etc.
Okay. No.
So it's all about the communication as
that,
well.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, I like that. I definitely like
You
that.
know, you got to have happy. You can start off with the happy wife in the beginning before she's even your wife, but you
Right.
also got to start off with a happy hubby.
Right.
You don't want him on the wedding day like it was all about her.
Uh-huh.
You don't want that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. What are some of the challenges? Like if you had to name like 3 challenges that you see at every wedding, like these are the 3 things that I see at every wedding that is most challenged, and only if I could tell couples that these are the 3 things to watch out for this or to do this instead. What would those 3 things be?
I don't really have that anymore.
Oh, well, excuse me.
I have mastered
Okay.
those challenges to the T. And again, that is why it's really important to have a professional.
Yes.
Because we can kind of foresee things and or we can have things that happen.
Right.
We can have challenges.
Mm-hmm.
We can have 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
We can be an hour behind on the top end and get back on track.
Okay.
And then a week after, when we're following up with the couple, they like, we didn't even know XYZ. You know,
I've seen you do that before.
I'm just saying.
I've been at weddings with you before, and you like, we 45 minutes behind time.
Yeah.
And like, you make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, so, and as the photographer, we still get the time that we need to do the photos that we need, you know, but
yeah, you can't
I've
do
seen
that.
it.
You can't do that with a venue coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with a venue person that's just appointed to your wedding.
Right.
Number 1, they don't know you personally.
Correct.
Number 2, their job is the space.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is the catering.
Mm-hmm.
They are not fully invested in you as a couple.
Right.
You know?
So when you say a vendor coordinator, you're talking about a venue coordinator, you're talking about like the day of coordinator, right?
No, the venue coordinator would be the person at
that
the
works,
actual venue.
Works for the venue.
Correct.
So a lot of times, like when I talk to couples that don't have a wedding planner, and I ask them, I say, well, hey, can you give me a timeline? And they say, yes, I'm waiting for the vendor planner to give it to me. And I say that I need more of a timeline than that. Mm-hmm. I need a day of timeline. Mm-hmm. Like the timeline that you're talking about is once the ceremony starts.
Correct.
You
need a photography breakdown
correct.
schedule. You need a beauty breakdown schedule.
And this is the reason why I advise couples to get a planner.
Yes.
You know, because of that. Like, and they don't know the difference because they more than likely haven't been through this before, and they don't know the difference. So right. I'm glad you brought that up about the day of coordinator, because it's nothing like having, because that day of coordinator is only worried about doing what's right for the venue. They're correct. Not worried about everything else.
So let me correct you, because I don't want any of your vendors to look at this and be like, wait, what is he talking about?
Okay.
So a day of coordinator
mm-hmm.
can also be a wedding planner.
Okay.
Outside of the venue.
Okay.
Venue coordinators and coordinators with the caterer are those with the venue and or the caterer.
Gotcha.
So sometimes couples will have a wedding at a hotel. That's a whole nother podcast, but mm-hmm. they'll have a wedding at a hotel okay. and they'll be assigned someone on that day. And sometimes, you know when they'll meet that person?
When?
Couple days before, maybe they'll say, oh, this will be your contact person for that day. That person is not your person.
Right.
You know? So that's, so a day of coordinator can still be a wedding planner.
Okay.
It would just be, a wedding planner who offers different packages. Right. And a day of coordinator, we don't like to call it that. We like to call it a month of planner, because
month of planner.
Day of planners should not exist. We should not just be popping in on a day of.
A
month of coordinator normally comes in 6 months or 3 months ahead mm-hmm. of time to tidy up everything, get you your detailed timeline,
yep.
all of that stuff, and is there on the day as well.
Okay.
But they have talked to the couple, been in contact with all the vendors, so they know what's going on. They're just not in the dark.
Okay.
But to go back to your original question in reference to challenges,
mm-hmm.
when you don't have a professional that can kind of guide you through
right.
and give you and play therapist
mm-hmm.
and marriage counselor and
yes.
all of that stuff ahead of time, some of the challenges are too many opinions from family, friends
mm-hmm.
that kind of puts pressure on couples.
Right.
So then they kind of get overwhelmed and they have all these things going on.
Okay.
I always tell my couples, it's your day. That's it. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Or listen to anybody you don't
You
want to listen to. Right?
It's your day. And, I come up with options. If you have, close family members that want to be a part, let's find something meaningful for them to do.
Okay.
But not for you to be stressed and auntie wants to do florals and she has to do 20 of them. And now, that's not what auntie does.
Right.
So, that's a challenge. The other one is, making the guest list, like inviting the whole world.
Yes.
That's a thing.
Right.
But you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to have 300 people at your wedding.
Yeah.
If those 300 people aren't meaningful, you've spoken to in the last year.
Right.
Those types of things.
And that gets expensive.
It does get
300
expensive.
people, because you got to feed all 300 people.
Yes.
But that would be a different podcast.
That's a way different podcast, because that list goes on and on and on and on and on. But that's that part too. If you have 100 people, that are your nearest and dearest, you've spoken to them in the last year, etc.
Right.
That's it. Keep the stress level down.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that kind of like two questions that I have, like when couples are bad with time, like when they are behind or are running late or something like that, like how do you get them back on time? Like, how important is time management for the wedding? Because like I said, sometimes we 45 minutes behind, or we an hour behind, or something like that. Like, how do you navigate that?
So is this time management during the planning or time management on wedding day?
On the wedding day, like a couple is, they're supposed to be at the hotel to start getting ready at 7:00 to start getting, makeup or whatever, or hair or whatever they gotta, and they get there at 9:00. So now everything is pushed behind, and then now maybe the ceremony is going to be late because everybody. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
I got you.
Like, how do you navigate? Like, how important is it for couples to be on time? I want them to know how important it is for them to be on time.
He wants to know this from a photography standpoint. All he cares about is his photography timeline.
That's kind of true.
That's all he cares about. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is really, really important. And I think I just spoke about this at the NACE meeting. So one of the things is, again, as a wedding planner, and I have a couple that I've planned their wedding from start to finish.
Okay.
Right? Or I also do partial planning.
Okay.
So I came in after they got their venue, but I still have enough time where I know them.
Right.
They know me.
Okay.
Which means we have a relationship. And there's certain things.
I see where this is going.
There's certain things that are a no-go for me.
Right.
I don't allow my brides to go to the hair salon on wedding day.
Right.
We're going to find hair and makeup. They're going to come to you. We build a hair and makeup schedule.
Gotcha.
And as you know, on my timeline, or most planners' timeline, hopefully, the hair and makeup schedule is there.
Right.
So therefore, everyone knows, what time everything's happening.
Which you wouldn't get from the venue coordinator.
Which you're not going to get from the venue coordinator. You will sometimes get it from the beauty team.
Okay.
You might not. But then again, the bride gets it, and now what?
Right.
Who else gets it?
Nobody.
So, there's the hair and makeup, schedule. But here's the thing. The wedding days go like this. Wake up, hair, makeup, photos.
Yep.
Right?
Yes. Yep.
Hair, makeup is the number one thing that runs weddings late. You know why?
Wow.
Because when hair and makeup runs late, for whatever reason, a young lady is late getting to her spot, whatever reason that they've added on a new person, whatever reason it is, then it throws you off.
Yes.
In photography, they are going to get their time.
Well, yeah.
And photography has what? So about 2 to 3 hours on the top end.
Yes.
Right? With the prep
Yep.
and things like that.
Yep.
So therefore, when hair and makeup runs late, then it pushes you late.
Yes.
And then most of the time, wedding planners, you don't want us to cut you short.
Right.
If you don't have a wedding planner, there's no one to manage that time.
Wow.
Y'all just floating.
Yep. Yep.
So that's how the wedding starts 45 minutes to an hour
true.
late. There's nobody to kind of reel it in.
Yeah.
And that's how I can jump back on schedule.
Right.
One, because I put a cushion in the timeline for myself.
Right.
For whatever reason. Right? For moving around, for whatever reason is. I can make up 15, 20, 30 minutes somewhere.
So you put that cushion in because you've been doing this for so long. But
and I know people.
Year 1, year 2, you probably didn't put a cushion in.
No.
But you learned, I'm putting a cushion in that nobody knows about, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah.
Because, you're moving the bride and her 8 girls from the hotel room downstairs. That's take about 10 minutes.
Yes.
If it takes 5, then thank God I've saved 5 minutes somewhere.
Yep.
So that's 5 minutes.
Right.
I've saved.
Yeah.
We've started the ceremony. At best, I'm starting a ceremony 7, no later than 10 minutes late.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And then if it's a quick ceremony, okay, they're clapping. Oh my God, it's over already.
Right.
I've saved myself. I got 10 more minutes. Now I got 15.
Right.
Now I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made up.
So now you catching back up
exactly.
to them being late.
And nobody knows.
Right. Wow.
Nobody knows.
And see, this, for all the couples out there, this is the reason why I wanted to bring a planner on first. Because I want the planner to set the bar so you know exactly what to do. Like, it won't even be any excuses to what you need to do or how you need to do a thing. Like, she's telling you, like, here's why and here's how. So that's the reason why Tiffanie Event Planner is episode number 1.
That's why. Thank you. Yeah, it's no venue coordinator is going to do that because they're too busy getting their catering staff together.
Right.
They're not going to come up to the hotel room and check and see where we are on
Right.
makeup.
Right.
They're not going to make sure that the photographers are good and be like, Lee, we have 15 minutes left on formals. Where we at?
Nope.
They're not going to do those things.
Nope.
And that's why wedding planners are so important because at best, people say we're everywhere.
Right.
Literally.
Yes.
We're everywhere. If my wedding is in a church and a venue, I have been to the hotel to check on hair, makeup, and couples.
Right.
Photography. Been to the church and to the venue.
Yep. No, I've seen you work, and I'll be like, man, and you always make sure that we get fed.
Please.
You make sure all the vendors get fed, rather.
I do.
Not just us, but you make sure all the vendors get fed.
So for everyone, no one knows this. Most planners do. But it's really, really, really important. Photography and videography have to get fed first. They have to get fed first.
Yeah.
Because to make the visual, when the couple's eating and the guests start to eat, you guys aren't taking pictures of people eating.
Correct.
So you need to eat then.
Yep.
You can't eat when everyone has eaten because now we've moved to toast.
Yep.
We've moved to cake cutting.
Yep.
We've moved to something else that needs to be photographed. So when have you eaten?
So true.
So that is, and I just want to say, I have gone to bat. Like I've stood at kitchen doors. And where is my media team's food? I can eat later.
Right.
The DJ can eat later.
Right.
You guys cannot.
Right.
And that was a hard lesson that I had to learn. So now and I make that up front.
Right.
During the planning process.
With the
Every time I
venue.
meet with the caterer, every time I meet with the venue, the media team has to eat. I have 3 people on the team. They have to eat as soon as you drop the first 3 tables.
Yep.
Right? Um, and sometimes they were like, in true venue coordinator catering
Mm-hmm.
manner.
Right.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. We do that all the time.
Yeah, right.
Day of the wedding, they're like, we have to feed all these people first.
Yep.
I was like, no, we
They
talked
always
about
say
this.
we can go last. They always say that.
They always say it. And I have stood at kitchen doors.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last time it happened, and they were adamant that they weren't feeding my media team
Right.
until they fed everyone else. And then once they finally did feed the media team, they was like, "Oh, can we move to cake cutting?" Absolutely not.
How can you move the
I
cake?
said,
Yeah.
I said, absolutely not. We're not doing anything
Right.
until they finish eating, because I told you they had to eat first.
Right.
So one of the things for couples, media
Mm-hmm.
works what I work, which is about 10 hours.
Oh yes.
So we're not eating literally until like that 8th hour.
Mm-hmm.
So we've worked all day.
Yep.
Photography and videography, they've gotten kind of smart,
Yeah.
but they have like snacks, like nuts and,
Yeah.
and waters
A
and stuff
Cliff
like that.
bar or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that smart. And I literally move all day long. And sometimes I don't eat. Like, I don't eat out of sheer movement.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to respect the work. When you've paid all this money for these people,
Oh yes.
you definitely want them to be happy.
Right.
But yeah, you
No,
guys
that's
are 8
awesome.
hours in before you even sit down with a decent meal. There's
Yeah.
no like lunch break,
No.
nothing.
No, none of that. Nope.
So,
That's awesome. But and so, and talking about, catering and venue and all that kind of stuff, like the decor, like for the couple, like I've seen couples like pay a lot of money for something else, but kind of like skimp on the decor.
mhm.
Like, like it's no big table pieces. It's no, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that is really like, if you want your wedding published or you want your wedding to really be nice, like those big table pieces is like, should couples skimp on that, or like, should they like, how do?
It's not really skimping.
Okay.
It's really based on their personality,
Mm-hmm.
what they want,
Okay.
and also their budget.
Right.
Some things, and I always say some things mean more
Yes.
than others.
Okay.
Right? So there are some couples who may spend $10,000 on photography and videography
Right.
because that is the most important thing to them.
Right.
And then there may be a simplistic table design.
Okay.
However, with a planner, the simplistic table design will be simplistic that'll fit their personality. It'll
Okay.
still be stylish. Every wedding is not meant to be
Big table pieces.
big table pieces. Really, it's not.
Right.
Every wedding's not meant to be big table pieces, published or featured.
Right.
Some of it is really, when you walk in the room, is that you're going to feel that couple. So if you have a big table piece for this couple that doesn't even fit,
right,
then it won't even feel like them.
I got you.
You
I
know?
got you. That makes sense. And that's why I'm asking you.
I love big extravagant,
Yeah.
but it doesn't fit everybody.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
But then it's also having that professional who can, put the plan together for you, put the visual together for you based on what your vision is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't have those big things, but we've made a mean table design with napkins and utensils and chairs,
Right.
that fit the couple.
Right, right. Yeah. And that stuff goes a long way,
It does.
With all of that, and like you said, you got minimalist people and you got people that's very, very extravagant.
Yes.
And sometimes that extravagant stuff can be kind of way
Just
over
extravagant.
the top.
It can be just extravagant.
Yeah, it could be way over the top, and it's just like, so, but nah, that's definitely good stuff. So, like, my next question is around like cost, like what should a wedding couple expect to pay, like, say maybe like for like not just a planner, but for like catering and photography and videography, if they want that, like what are some of the prices that's out there? Because sometimes we get couples and we tell them these prices, and I'm sure you've seen that before as well. You tell them prices and they just like, that's way too
Like
much
what?
money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
like what should a couple expect to spend, like, let's just say, for photography? Just a price range of what they can expect to pay for good photography.
So let me start off by saying this. Post COVID, and I really think COVID did a number on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Everything went up.
Yes.
And I really think during post COVID, flowers was the first thing to go up
Mm-hmm.
because, the price of everything went up.
Yep.
But I always tell people, Google and
Okay.
see what an average wedding costs. And I use average very
Yep.
loosely.
Yep.
What an average wedding costs. And I, just had this conversation. It's about $35,000.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's not your big centerpieces,
Nope.
not your big table to scape.
Nope.
That's an average wedding.
Right.
So once you get into the weeds
Mm-hmm.
of adding videography, photography, large centerpieces, an amazing tablescape, the backdrops and
Yep.
things like that, now you're
50,000 easy.
you're easy 60.
Yeah.
You're easily creeping
Right.
up there. But then you have to keep keep an eye on your guest count.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Because 100 versus 150 is a total different
Yeah.
number. But these are all the things of having a wedding planner in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of walk you through those things.
I got you.
So some of the things that we do in the beginning is put a budget together.
Right.
Have a very transparent and realistic conversation
Mm-hmm.
in reference to your budget versus your vision. Your
Right.
vision versus your budget.
Right.
And then we go from there.
Gotcha.
And then if you have a wedding planner, then there's things along the way.
Mm-hmm.
We should be, getting you professionals within your budget.
Right.
Within the things that we've already outlined.
That's what
So
I was
you're
about
just
to say.
yeah, so we're just not out you're just not out here as a couple
Right.
just on a whim.
Right.
Like going to venues that are $10,000 where you really want an all-inclusive venue where
Right.
maybe you get the venue and food for
Right.
$15,000.
Right.
So now you're out wasting time and
Mhm.
money and you're lost, in your
and
expectations.
the couple don't know this because they don't have the relationships with these vendors like a wedding planner does.
Correct. They
right?
don't have the relationship.
Right.
They don't have the knowledge, those types of things. I tell people all the time, I can build a wedding off my phone.
Right.
I can text. I do. I can text everybody.
Uh-huh.
Everybody on a wedding professional list.
Right.
I can text them.
Right.
Find out if they're available.
Yep.
Find out their pricing.
Yep.
I can do all of that.
So a couple come to you and say, "Hey, we got $25,000 for our wedding. Like, that's what we want to spend." You can go and say, "All right, I know a venue. I can get you." You probably don't even have to tell them. You can just say, "All right, $25,000. Do you want a videographer there?
Mhm.
Do you want, how many photographers do you want there?" So you can kind of price it up because you know the pricing for different videographers. You know the
Mhm.
pricing for different photographers, and all right, this venue is going to be $10,000, and if you got 100 people, extra $5,000 will get all of those people fed.
Mhm.
So, all right, this is what you'll have left because you have those relationships. Like
Right.
a wedding planner knows all of that stuff.
Right.
Whereas though if somebody came to you with $50,000, you can say, "Oh, okay, all right, we can get a little
Now-
more extravagant." And
Correct. But know this. So one of the other things is what's your total estimated budget,
okay,
right? And sometimes I tell couples you might need a cushion because if you say my total is 15,000, as you just said,
Mhm.
remember I'm a part of the budget, so my fee comes out of the 15.
Oh yes.
So now that leaves you, that doesn't leave you.
Leave you-
Not saying I'm that much. I'm just saying, I come
get it.
out of the total estimated budget.
Yeah.
So therefore, we have to be in the budget.
Yes.
So, that's also a thing. But
Right.
yes, so when they come and they say, we only want to spend $25,000.
Yep.
Okay.
You already subtracting. All right, this is what it's going to cost me.
Exactly.
And then you got your different price tiers. Like, do you want me there just, the
Correct.
month of? coordinator? Do you want me there, for the full duration? Do you want me to plan the whole thing?
Correct.
You know what
And
I
then,
mean?
right.
So,
And then I break estimated costs down,
right,
just so that they have a visual.
right,
And visuals help because, not everyone, again, they're
Mhm.
maybe doing this the first time.
right,
Or if they did it before, it was pre-COVID
right.
where, weddings were
Stuff was a little cheaper.
was a lot different.
Mhm.
And so they don't know
Right.
that things have drastically went up. They don't know that, there's a food and beverage minimum
Right, right.
of X amount of dollars. They don't know that, if you are getting things delivered, that now
Mhm.
there's this astronomical delivery fee. They don't know that if you are getting this fancy decor, that there may be a minimum to ordering that decor. So instead of
Right.
you saying, "Oh, I just want those fancy 2 chairs," well, those fancy 2 chairs, you have to spend $1,000 more because there's a minimum.
Right.
So there's all these things that they just don't have the knowledge of.
Wow. No, that's awesome. And that's why, like I said, I wanted to get you on, episode number 1.
Episode 1.
Because it's like this stuff. I didn't know it was 15 vendors, now at a wedding. It's like this stuff, like, I don't know. And that's why I'm like, I want to talk to these couples because I see it from a photography aspect, which I see a lot. I'm spending a lot of time with the couple from, 2 hours before the wedding start till the wedding end. Same as you. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I see a lot of things and I see a lot of things go wrong. And I'm just like, man, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, you know what? I want to talk to couples because I don't think that there's a place for couples to go unless they get a wedding planner. So with this podcast, I want them to see the importance of why you should get a wedding planner and the do's and don'ts of wedding planning.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's
Yes.
kind of what I want this to be about.
Yes.
So where can people find Tiffanie Event Planner at? Let's give us all of the places that they can find you at.
All of the places.
Yes.
So Bird of Paradise Events.
Okay.
Our website.
Okay.
Which is birdofparadiseevents.com.
Yep.
And then, of course, Instagram at Bird of Paradise Events.
Okay.
Facebook
at
Bird of Paradise Events.
Okay.
And yes.
All right. Cool. No, that's good
and
stuff.
now on the first podcast.
Yeah, now on the first podcast. So, if you got questions for Tiffanie or you want to hire her, you know exactly where to find her at. And if you got any questions for me or, something that we can do different, let us know. Put it in the comments. We're not afraid. Just put it in the comments.
Yes, tune in.
So,
tune in.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you're here this long, thank you. We much appreciate it.
Yes.
And like I always say, don't put off tomorrow what you can get done today. And that will end it for us. Thank you and peace. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.